Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Joanna Butler, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Lieutenant Colonel Ben Price. We are honoured to acknowledge Major General Freeman and Major General Azhan and their accompanying delegation. We warmly welcome Mr. Dennis Lyons, representing the Naval Association of Australia. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Lithgow Public School, Lithgow, New South Wales. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Winbury Laurence Angwin. Winbury Angwin's parents, Arnold and Doris, met and married in England in 1919 after Arnold had served in France with the AIF during the First World War. Back home to Western Australia, their first child, Winbury, was born on the 26th of July 1920 in Perth. Winbury was his mother's maiden surname. The couple then had two more children, Shirley and George. Little is known of Winbury's early life, except that the family spent some time in Collie, about 200 kilometres south of Perth. Known to family and friends as Laurie, he grew to be a strapping young man, nearly 6 foot tall, and took on work as a labourer. While he was still in his teens, his mother Doris developed a gradual loss of muscular function, known as creeping paralysis, and died in 1936. Laurie Angwin enlisted in the Royal Australian Navy on the 6th of January 1938 in Fremantle, signing on for 12 years service. After initial training at HMAS Cerberus, in September 1938, he was posted to HMAS Sydney, in which he served until the end of 1939. Now at war, he transferred to the newly launched HMAS Parramatta on the 2nd of January 1940. Parramatta was a new 1,060-tonne Grimsby-class sloop commissioned at Sydney on the 8th of April 1940. Armed with 3 4-inch guns, 4 3-pounders, torpedoes and depth charges, her complement was 135 officers and men. Parramatta was under the command of Lieutenant Commander Jefferson Walker. Parramatta sailed from Fremantle on the 29th of June 1940 and shaped course for the Middle East. Over the next 9 months, as part of Red Sea Force, the ship conducted numerous operations, escorting, patrolling, and minesweeping this critical waterway. Apart from occasional attacks from Italian aircraft, Parramatta's main action was participating in operations against Italian Eritrea in April 1941. In May, Parramatta transferred to the Mediterranean station. In late June, she made her first run from Alexandria, escorting vital supplies being shipped to the besieged port of Tobruk in Libya, where Australian troops were holding out. Subjected to heavy air and submarine attack, Parramatta fortunately survived unscathed. The next few months saw Parramatta undertaking less hazardous duties, making escort runs to Cyprus, followed by duty in the Suez Canal zone. Always of good conduct, Laurie Angwin was promoted to leading stoker on the 1st of August 1941. On the 18th of November 1941, the Allies launched Operation Crusader, a land offensive aimed at relieving Tobruk. Parramatta again conducted escort duties in support, and despite being subjected to enemy air and submarine attacks, once more returned safely to Alexandria on the 23rd. The pace was relentless and supplies were desperately needed, so 2 days later, Parramatta cast off for a return to Tobruk. Around midnight on the 26th, Parramatta, HMS Avonvale, and the ammunition supply ship Hannah were sighted off the coast of Bardia by German submarine U-559. After missing the Hannah, U-559 fired a single torpedo at HMAS Parramatta, which hit. There are 2 almost simultaneous explosions, the second probably in the magazine, as the ship was torn apart. All lighting failed, and Walker, standing on the bridge, only had time to issue the order to abandon ship before she rolled to starboard and sank. Only 24 survived, mostly those who were on the upper decks. 138 officers and sailors were lost. Among them was leading stoker Angwin. He was 21 years old. The remains of those lost in HMAS Parramatta that fateful day still lay with the wreck. Their names are commemorated on the Plymouth Naval Memorial in Devon, England, and are also listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. In the West Australian newspaper, Angwin's grieving siblings honoured their older brother Laurie's service, closing with, "We will always remember him smiling." A photograph of his memorial plaque is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember leading stoker Winbury Laurence Angwin, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
And the sounding of the last post.
They have no grave but the cruel sea. No flowers lay at their head. A rusting hulk is their tombstone, a fast on the ocean bed. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember. Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.